All right, so let's go here to Dave EK. And he says, one huge factor for the Angels' possible record. New MLB schedule means fewer games against the AL West, more against the rest of the entire league. Teams play every team regardless of league.
Well, I think balanced schedule is fascinating to me because if I were an Angel fan, I think I'd get tired of seeing the Astros and the Mariners and the substandard Oakland A's. I do like the fact you're going to play everybody and everybody's coming into your yard and you're going to their yard. I think that's a marketing jewel. And I think that's a real positive. It's positive here. Padres, as much as we like to talk about Padre-Dodger rivalry, I think fans like to see the Yankees come this way. They're fascinated to see how Tampa Bay does what Tampa Bay does or what the Minnesota Twins is. Like the coolest thing is to go to Petco Park and see the guy sitting right behind you wearing Minnesota Twins gear. I came from Ironwood, Michigan. I'm a Minnesota Twins fan. He moved out here. He got deported out here. So I think that the new look schedule probably changes the pennant races a little bit. And I think the new look schedule, playing everybody, I think is really great for baseball marketing because we're getting to see things you never, ever, ever see. Now, old traditionalists like you, Life O'Reilly, would say, hey, I just want the American League to play the American League and the heck with the interleague stuff and the National League, and then we'll play in the World Series. Well, that's changed.
Well, now I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, you brought up where the AL and the NL were separate. And so the All-Star game and the World Series were very special. It was like bringing two worlds together. But, as a fan, you do want to see those other teams. You want to see the Yankees when they come into town.
You think?
And then here in San Diego, everybody's from somewhere else, right? So there are Minnesota Twins fans and Tampa Bay Rays fans. They're scattered around the county. I like this move as well because from a marketing perspective, from a ticket sales perspective, these owners need to make money so they can pay, Manny Machado $30 million a year. So they've got to do these things. And I think overall it's good for the sport.
Our market is so uniquely different from lots of other places. Our market, John, is a melting pot. Mm-hmm. We got everybody. I mean, you go see the Padres play the Red Sox. You know how many people from New England who don't speak the language are sitting at Petco Park talking about the Red Sox, Boston and all that. So I think the interleague schedule is cool. I think the DH is cool. I'll be interested to see what these new rules impacting the pace of play are going to be like too. Next question.
All right. So let's roll over here to some of the YouTube comments. And this is one, we were talking about that cheap shot in the Aztec game against, what was it? Was that the Boise game? I get them all mixed up. But anyways, this Larry Hamlet says, I hate to tell you this, Lee, but a win is a win. That's it. All teams go through an offensive lull in a season. Please stress or talk about the many positives. We need to be thinking about that in last night's game against Fresno.
Understand they are 21-5. That's pretty impressive. Understand this, and you're correct, Larry. They've won in every big tough venue in the Mountain West. And as John and I just talked about, everybody in the Mountain West has got players now via the transfer portal, and it's changed everything. Road games in the Mountain West are really hard, and the Aztecs have won them, whether they dominated them or they survived Fresno State. Thank goodness, 2 for 25 threes. I've never seen that ever in my life. But the only thing that worries me about San Diego State is, once you get to March Madness, Larry, and you get into the tournament, you're not going to be playing some of these substandard Mountain West teams any longer. There won't be any San Jose States or Fresno once you get to March Madness. And if you view yourself as a Sweet 16 Elite 8 team, you can't have your guards going 7 for 24 shooting or have these in and out nights where one night Keyshawn Johnson hits 6 baskets in the first 7 minutes, then disappears, or nights in which Nathan Mensah goes 0-0 and gets in foul trouble. So the Aztecs are good, but once we get to March Madness, this is a whole different level. So I like the team. I think the coach is a spectacular human being. They recruit really good kids. But geez, this late in the season, to see that the stigma of how bad that game at Fresno State was, wow.
Well, I mean, imagine they get into March Madness and they're in the first and second round and they're holding the opposition to 43 points. Is that a recipe for success? It's ugly, but I think that can still work.
Well, ugly is ugly, and it's a win. But guys in March Madness, they going to shoot 43% or go 2 for 25 from the arc?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's open for debate, but we'll see how they finish the season. I do think they win the Mountain West Conference tournament because that's not a home game any longer. That's on a kind of a neutral court in Vegas. I think they'll do pretty well there. Next question.
Well, that's Viejas East, by the way. The Aztecs dominate there in Las Vegas. All right, this is from Tyrone Biggums, and he's talking about Jim Irsay. He says, Irsay is a good owner. The issue is Ballard has been such a failure. Irsay lost trust in the process. His issue is he is too loyal to Ballard. He needed to fire Ballard and hire a new GM that he trusts to do his stuff.
Well, but, while Ballard's been there as general manager, they got one of the really good offensive linemen in Quentin Nelson, and that general manager drafted Jonathan Taylor and Najee Himes, the 2 running backs, and he's the one that drafted these young wide receivers led by Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. I mean, what's beset Indianapolis has been injuries, and obviously the one-year rental with the quarterbacks has not worked out very well. So we'll see. Steichen comes with a good track record. He's learned under some really good people. He coached here in San Diego. He took a lot from the relationship with Phillip Rivers. He obviously did a really good job in Philadelphia with Sirianni. So my gut feel is let's just see how this works, and I'll be intrigued to see what quarterback they wind up with. Now, I don't know that they're going to get a shot at C.J. Stroud, nor are they going to get a shot at Bryce Young unless they trade up to a top 5 pick. So they got a lot of work to get done, but I like the hire of the quarterback because I think he's a bright light.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny we talk about Irsay and some of his nonsense, as an owner, but it always starts at the top. I mean, we've seen that in all the franchises. You have a good owner, you get good management, and it just works its way down the org chart. We'll see what the Colts do. Maybe they'll get Bryce Young, and that'd be great for that franchise, but they're going to need to get a QB.
Oh, definitely. As I said, once Andrew Luck retired, off the top of my head, they went through Jacoby Brissett, they went through Phillip Rivers, then they went through Carson Wentz, and then they went through Matt Ryan, and that was kind of a disaster.
Yeah. So let's see what this draft brings us.
Next question here on Fans Forum.
Fans Forum. Here we go. This is from M. Allen talking about Kyrie, and he says, Dallas and Phoenix will play for the Western Conference Final since Durant and Irving are the 2 best at their positions in the league.
Well, which Kyrie shows up? That's a big issue. Kyrie came out flying his first couple of games with the Mavericks. Durant has not played yet for Phoenix. He's coming off the injury issue. I mean, there's no doubt that Phoenix will be tremendous in terms of starters. Devin Booker is just a great talent, and Durant is Durant, and that's a Hall of Fame career guy there, and they still got CP3. The thing, however, is that Monty Williams no longer has the bench that he had before because they traded Cam Johnson, and they traded the other young forward. Mikal Bridges had 45 the other night in Brooklyn. So they're not going to be quite the same Phoenix Suns basketball team in terms of depth. Dallas, 2-man team. Do they have enough firepower around Doncic and around Kyrie? And I know you make the trade for Kyrie, and the flashpoint is, boy, look at this guy's explosiveness. But please, look at his track record as a teammate. What he did in Cleveland that got him out of there. Went to Boston, and that was supposed to be the last piece of the puzzle. What he did in Boston, he left the Brooklyn Nets like a 5-alarm fire in utter disarray because all the junk he got involved in off the field. So a lot of NBA playoff games to be played. Then obviously the play-in series to get to the start of the postseason. But there's no doubt that the NBA West, that's big boy basketball.
It is. And the Warriors are in trouble now because Steph Curry's hurt. So there's a lot of changes. I've been hearing some really good things about the Lakers and the new chemistry with their new players. Wouldn't it be interesting if it was the Suns and the Mavericks? But, to go back to your other comment, you talked about Mikal Bridges. Have you been following the story about how he's been, shouting out to Manny Machado and the Padres with the whole head bob thing? I mean, that's kind of cool, so good on those guys.
We'll see what happens with the Lakers. And I'll tell you, nobody's talking about the Clippers. And I like the acquisitions that they made because it gave them 3-point firepower to complement Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. We'll see if this group comes together. They added a big man as a backup at center. We'll see if the Clippers turn out to be more dangerous because I think the Clippers now, John, are a lot more deeper. Hey, listen, we hope